of this show is largely going to be centered around, and it kind of feeds into what we've been doing all this time on the Chasers. It's almost like everybody else is just now figure out what we've been doing for a long time now. You know what I'm saying? So this is nothing new to us. We know what's happening with the migrant crisis. We know what's happening in different cities. I'm going to go over Houston. Houston, y'all coming to the front of the congregation today. The Houston mayor, new mayor, John Whitmore, said we broke over in Houston. We broke over in Houston. Oakland, New York, Chicago, Jesus. Florida can't even get no insurance. California, the taxes is out of control. They operating at a deficit. All of these U.S. cities are going to go the same way. They all going to go the same way. And you know what's so interesting about it is that we over here in Detroit have already witnessed, experienced, and seen what you guys are already going to go. Y'all going to go through it. The math doesn't make sense for you not to go through it. The math does not make sense for you not to go through it. When you operate at a deficit, you can only borrow so much money before you then go bankrupt. We've already experienced it here in Detroit. We knew what it felt like. The only difference is that we experienced it during a time where the housing crisis kind of forced our hand into the circumstance that we in. There's going to be much, much bigger cities that file for bankruptcy above what it is that we experience here in Detroit. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I'm showing you, I'm telling you, and it's going to happen. It's already happening. It's already happening, and I already told you, I warned you, and they only going to be able to borrow so much money. President running the whole country into the toilet. Everybody going to continue to vote blue because your parents told you to vote blue. And I'm not saying that you got to vote red, but I am telling you that you need to be familiar with the people that you elected into office. More importantly, inflation for you personally, regardless of what the Fed say, is out of control. Interest rates, crazy. I reviewed a video over the weekend of a girl that was saying that she got a master's degree and she's still a bartender down there in Fort Lauderdale. Baltimore is selling homes for $1. I'm covering that tomorrow. I had to pick and choose which articles I was going to rock with today or tomorrow. It's so much that was happening over the weekend. We covering everything all week. That's why this is the greatest morning show on earth. Marriages is in decline. Listen, ain't it weird when people sit there and they hold me accountable for being married for 20 years successfully without any kind of problems, trouble, never been arrested, no, nothing. I employ people. And there's people that was calling into the show that have 6.5 kids, 6 and a possible like spades. And they were saying, listen, I can't even keep my cock in my pants, but I want to hold you accountable for the optics. They care more about optics and talking points. And that's how politicians finesse y'all, is that they understand that it's much easier. Thank you, Fi Brown. I'm on it. My barber is sick. They understand that it's much easier to tell you what you want to hear than actually be a good reflection of what the community needs. They're going to tell you, listen, we'll forgive your student loans, but they didn't forgive anything. We paid for it. Hey, you got politicians that will come up here and tell you, I am going to fix your roads. You talking about with my money? Don't y'all realize that the politicians work for you? When you say defund the police, you're literally making your own neighborhoods unsafe. Don't you realize that when they say I'm forgiving student loans and they add to the national deficit and then they remove people from being accountable for the decisions that they make as far as the money that they take out so that they can go and party at these universities, that you're the one that's paying for it? When your city is so trash, like in Dalton, and then they start to say either we're going to file for bankruptcy or we're going to raise taxes, who you think is paying for it? It's your money. Biden didn't forgive even the student loans that he forgave, right? Let's be real. Even the student loans that he forgave, don't you realize that he did it with your money? So it's irresponsible people that make bad decisions on a regular basis, and then we come out and we pay for your stuff. I almost cussed. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't you realize that these politicians work for you? You're paying for their salaries. You pay for the treasurer, the city council person, the trustees, the alderman, the mayor, the president, Senate, House of Representatives, Congress people. They work for you. And when they say, okay, well, we're going to give out more social services, whose pocket you think it's going to come out of? It's not going to come out of my pocket. It's coming out of your pocket. You're the one that's paying for it. Don't you realize that the infrastructure being messed up, and when a politician come and say, hey, I'm going to fix the roads, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, or they being dishonest with you, that's your money. They doing it with your money. When they give raises for Medicare and health care coverage and Social Security, you're paying into it. You're the one that's in a Ponzi scheme. When migrants come over here and they take your jobs, you're funding their health care and the schools. Don't you know the schools is funded based off of the taxes that's taken out of the property taxes that you pay every single year? Why do you think California is so trash, even though they got the best weather in the United States of America? I want you to understand something. I really, really want you to catch it. And I break this all the way down to a simple way to communicate. I don't have to do big words. I was looking at a Destiny debate and he was talking about he was talking real fast. And people think because he talked fast that he's intelligent. And if these people are so intelligent, how come their marriages be falling apart? If these people are so intelligent, if Umar Johnson, for example, because I'm going to name names, I don't care. If Umar Johnson is so smart and he has the answers for you on how to fix the community and how to attain black wealth and keep it within the power structure, then how come he doesn't do it? Why is his life personally not a reflection of the thing that y'all say that y'all follow? If all of these simps that's pandering to y'all, selling y'all a dream so that they can sell y'all more products, all of these guys out here, right? If they have the answers, then how come they not married? Why do they got baby mamas? Honestly, how come all of the smartest people don't have any kind of results that reflect what it is that they're advocating for you to do? Why are y'all listening to women that's teaching you how to date, but they have not been able to acquire a man to marry them for at least 5 years? How are politicians supposed to teach you how to fix your community and solve your issues if they've never actually built a business or understand it from a business perspective? You're telling me that a teacher can then run a multi-billion-dollar budget, that a cop knows how to manage in the biggest city in the United States of America? Preachers that don't even have a job can tell you what it is that you're supposed to sow into. So why God ain't give it to you? Why he telling me to give it to you? Because the way it works is that you're supposed to sow into me, and then I'm supposed to see the results, and then I sow back into you. The tithing goes to the church. The church is the body of Christ. It's not the building. The building fund don't mean nothing. The place of worship could be anywhere. It doesn't matter. It could be in the middle of the street. I don't need a building to connect with my people in order to praise God. I want to see you working. I want to see you actually turning your fruits over and multiplying it similar to how the Bible described that a person with good fruit would do. And then I'll follow you. Your life is supposed to be a reflection of great things, no? Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is coming to save you. I cannot save you. I can give you every tool that you need. And I'm trying to convince you to step outside of the victim Olympics. If you are a person that does not have a job, I'm going to need you to get some tangible skills to get a job so that you can provide for your family and stop having children out of wedlock irresponsibly because you're creating a problem for the children. And I'm going to extend to you an olive branch before we get into the show. I'm going to extend to you an olive branch before we get into this show. Because I know that the one thing that prevents you from really, really being able to take off, as you like to describe it, is that you want acknowledgement. Everybody wants you to acknowledge their pain. Acknowledge the fact that black people, acknowledge that white people, acknowledge that Asian people are going through the crime bill, acknowledge that Mexicans is being discriminated against, acknowledge that women have been suppressed, acknowledge that men have been held responsible for the entire time that they've been on the face of this earth. Okay. I'm going to authentically give you an olive branch. I acknowledge that it is not your fault. You are paying for the sins of your fathers and grandfathers and the people that came before you. There is people that have died, that have left you with generational curses. And because you have been unable to break the bonds, because you continue to vote the way that you do, you continue to embrace a culture that's not yours, that you then adopted, that was given to you. You give talking points back to me that I then turn back on his head and tell you that right is wrong and wrong is right. You continue to run in the Victim Olympics based off of the fact that it's not your fault. Forgive yourself. It's not your fault. It's not your fault that your mama was a hoe. It's not your fault that your daddy was a Rolling Stone. You didn't ask to be born here. You didn't ask to be born in the hood. You didn't ask to be given this situation. You didn't even ask to be ordained and then being recommended and required to meet expectations because there's other people that's paying attention to you and following you. You did not ask for the responsibility, and neither did I. The biggest problem in my life was that I used to run from my responsibility and say, listen, because there was a requirement on me before I was born. My entire life since I was raised, they've been telling me, my entire family been telling me, listen, you're going to be the one. You're going to have the microphone. And I couldn't understand what it was. We didn't have social media back then. They said, listen, you're going to speak to people. Then you are going to give them what they need in order to be successful. And it's not up to you. That's a requirement on your life. And I said, I didn't ask for this. And so I rebelled. And I went and I tried to get into stuff that I wasn't supposed to be in. And I tried to jump in. That's why my father sent me to private school in middle school. Because he wanted to take me away from the thing that I was running into, because I wanted to crash out, because I didn't want the responsibility. And I didn't feel like it was my responsibility because I didn't ask for this and I didn't ask to be here. It's all the same. It's still there. And when you get done complaining, and when you get done whining and holding your mama and your daddy accountable, and when you get done crying and getting mad and all of this other type of stuff, guess what? Your responsibilities, your requirements, the things that you're supposed to do is going to be sitting there waiting on the other side of that padded room after you get done throwing your tantrum. When you get done throwing your tantrum, the requirement on your life is still there, and you're going to do it before the fight, during the fight, or after the fight. It's still going to be there for you. When you get done trying to get mad at your boss and whining and saying they discriminating against you, guess what? You still going to be you, and you still got to take you to the next position. So either you can get it together, because I'm going to just tell you, it don't get easier, it get harder as you get older. But then you become the beneficiary in the things that you do early. Then you then grow and you become great as a result of it. The rewards are so much greater on the other side. And regardless of whether or not you didn't want to be here, listen, the zebra didn't want to be there when an alligator was eating its leg off. The pig didn't know that it was going to be born and then it was going to be turned into bacon and then you're going to eat it. It's the circle of life. So either you can be on the winning side of the equation, or you can continue to complain and become the victim. Then you then make other people rich, because victims make rich people richer. Or you can do the thing that you're supposed to do and become the other side, and then change the narrative and be the change that you want to see, and actually be a reflection of the thing that you advocate for. We're tired of hearing you complain. We're tired of the blackety black talk. We're tired of you sitting here running in the Victim Olympics. We don't care. When you get done typing hard, when you get done whining on social media and you cut your phone off to go charge so you can whine again, guess what? Nobody cares. You still got to go home to you. You still got to sleep on your air mattress. You still got to figure it out. Taxes are still going to be due. They don't care. They want their money at the end of the day. Nobody is coming to save you. Now, what we will do is we'll give you the information that allows for you to be successful, so you can skip the line, so to speak, and forego all of the issues and problems that people that came before you had to pave the way for you to be able to leapfrog off of their greatness, and then you can become great and take the credit for what it is that we did. You know how we do. We sit there and act like we was the great ones when it was people that died for us to be able to vote, and then we complain about voting. Nobody cares. How many of y'all was actually worried about whether or not I was going to do the Millionaire Morning Show? You expected it. You know why? Because that's just what we do. We cook. And so what I do is I get up an hour earlier or 2 hours earlier or 3 hours early, or I work all Sunday in order to prepare for the show because I understand that I got other things that I got to shoot for today. And so I have to be proactive in that. There is no complaining about a lack of sleep. There is no complaining about what it is that I got to do. We have to take care of business, and it's nobody's responsibility but yours. Ain't no middle road. You got to pick a side. Either you got to be great or you're going to be trash. Which one is it? Either you got to be great or you're going to have to be trash. Which one is it? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Oh, you got bussed down in college? Nobody cares. Oh, she taking you to child support court? Nobody cares. Oh, man, you picked a bad degree because you wanted to party and now you suffering as a result of it? Nobody cares. Even when you make the decision to vote the way you vote, don't you know that you traded in your freedom and your vote for somebody to hold it over your head so that they can continue to hold power? Don't you realize that you're trading in and you're selling your freedom? You're selling your decision-making process based off of operating under a duress mindset? Don't you realize that? Everything you do is for sale. You sold your soul to the person that sold out the country. Why? Because you made a bad decision in college. Nobody cares. Everything is for sale. Everything is for sale. Your vote, for sale. That's why they market it to you. Your baby, being a baby daddy, for sale. Your box, for sale. And now that we all advocated for equal, you can equal accountability get this smoke.